Welcome to Ring Talk, episode 16 of the weekly Goodwin boxing show. We've got Linus Udofia with us today, fresh off of a victory on Friday night, and Steve Goodwin, head of Goodwin Boxing. We're going to touch on you in a bit, Linus. Another success, building up the resume. We'll start off with Steve on the back of the Haymaker show. You guys were heavily involved in down at your call. How'd it go for yourselves?
I think the boxers that we had on all performed really well. Starting off with Mo Garib having his second pro fight. You know, he done a good job against Jamie Spate. Jack Newham, I thought, really improved.
Yeah.
He came out and he performed really well. I think Jack could be very, very good down the line. Sam Gilly fought third. He produced a very good stoppage over Daniel Bazzo. Thought he'd done really well.
He's big Sam, isn't he?
Big for welterweight.
Tall lad.
Yeah, he's a tall lad, and Rod Julian's doing a great job with him. The Nesu Tuala dominated Reece Saunders.
That's the one you thought would be a bit closer?
Yeah, I think Reece came out a little bit aggressive, and then I think he sort of fancied it less and less and started. He went into the journeyman mode.
Yeah.
So well done to Anissa for making him feel like that. That was great. Linus then came, and we had a crisis with Linus. I don't know if everybody knows, but the night before, his opponent turns up at Stansted Airport, doesn't get through border control, gets deported. So
he didn't leave the airport, did he?
Didn't leave the airport, got deported. So you're talking Sunday. Kevin's at the airport, midnight. Phone call comes through. Linus's fight's off. So we then spent the early hours of the morning and working out who we could sort out, and we got a replacement in. So thank God for William Warburton for coming and saving it. Linus performed really well against him. You're never going to stop William Warburton.
Nope.
So you know,
was it 125 losses or something on his record?
But
of which about 3 stoppages or something.
And that was early on. He doesn't get stopped now. And then Dean Richardson performed well with Jan Balog. I think Dean needs more rounds than 4, but on that show we were only given 6 4-round slots.
Yeah.
So that was that. Eric McConzo stepped in late to fight Willie Hutchinson, and to be honest, I thought he exposed Willie Hutchinson a little bit at this stage of his career. I thought Eric, who wasn't really fit, he performed really well. I thought he showed a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Jamani Camiro stepped in late to fight Freddie Quit after Mucha pulled out. I don't know if you know, but Mucha pulled out the day after the check weigh-in, therefore not enabling anybody else to step in when he says he was injured 2 days before. So the whole thing wasn't very suitable. I don't know what really went on, but we were left with Jamani doing a fantastic job in stepping up 2 weights to fight Freddie Quit, and he lost by 2 rounds. And then obviously Joe Joyce knocked out somebody that he was always going to knock out.
Yeah. I mean, I spent Saturday night with Jamani for a little while.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he was in good spirits. He was quite happy with his own performance. I think he realised he could have been a bit more aggressive at times. But, you know, for the stage that he's at in his career, jumping up to 2 weight divisions, and the fact that he took it at 48 hours notice.
I think a lot more people know who Jamani is. He's still Southern Area champion. It was a no-loss fight, and he pushed Freddie Quit, who is a talented welterweight, to a loss of only 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd done really well. No losses, no harm in that at all.
I thought he did a fantastic job with it. It was,
that was great.
Very good. But yeah, this man here, Linus, so taking on William Warburton. I mean, as a manager, what are you hoping? I know it's not ideal because William was never the lined up opponent until Friday. But what do you hope someone like Linus is getting out of?
Saturday. Oh, no, it was Friday. Friday, yes.
What are you hoping that he gets out of that? For
experience and just learning how to cope with somebody so different, and realising that he's not going to stop him, and and using his boxing skills to beat him. He needs to take on all different types of opponents, so that when we do step up and we go and win titles, which we will do, that he's experienced those things beforehand rather than on the night. And it's all about building that experience up so that when we push the button, that he wins. There are too many fighters, in my opinion, that some out there in his division that push the button too early and don't get the right results early on and suffer some beatings. And I think once you suffer that, it goes wrong. Half of the skill is navigating a fighter's career correctly.
Yeah. I mean, it was quite amusing. I was watching it on the Facebook stream at home because I couldn't get down there. And the amount of people that don't understand William Warburton and what William Warburton's there to do. And they're going, this is rubbish. Like, he's just, why isn't he stopping him? Really? Like,
They don't understand.
Yeah. So how was it for you then, Linus, getting in there with a guy, as we say, well over 100 fights in his career? And yet with those 100 fights, the majority are losses, but he stopped 6-7 undefeated guys, like, and they're not too far away past. Are you kind of conscious of that when you're going in there, that he's very unlikely to get stopped, he's more likely to actually put some damage on you?
Put damage on me, yeah. Before I got in, I knew, when I got a call that morning from Terry, and he told me everything that happened, and he goes, fan replacement, everything's still okay, you know what I mean? Massive thank you to the guys at Goodwin for, working so hard. And
a thank you to William.
Massive thank you to William for coming down, for making the trip for the night. And the first, when Terry told me, I thought, normally I don't really watch fights, and I thought, let me at least see what I'm, maybe going up against, let me just have a look. And I saw him, and he's very unorthodox. He knows his way around the ring. He knows what he's doing. The first thing I noticed was if you come out and sleep on him for a little bit, that could be your own gone. I watched him fight a few prospects, and I see him put them on their ass, and I just thought to myself, he's very dangerous. It's something you need to watch out for, really. So it's kind of it's a risky fight, but at the same time, don't do anything stupid, and you'll be fine.
So do you take a more cautious approach then than you may do if someone was coming for the win?
When I went out, I had no intention of going out there to stop him. If it happened, it happened, but it was very unlikely, and I wasn't going out there to do that, and I wasn't ready to risk that because you likely weren't going to get it with Willie Warburton.
And it was comprehensive enough, wasn't it? It was 40-36. So there was never any kind of risk. You didn't lose any rounds. It was
just what Terry told me to do was just go out, box him, and get the win. There was no need to. He said there was no need. Don't do anything. Shoot every single round. Every time I sat down and got up to go back for the next round, he just said, "Don't do anything stupid." There's no need to. He said there is no need to. There's no need to do anything stupid. Just get the win and we'll go.
So what did you learn out of it? What was if you're coming out of every fight that you have with a lesson, what was the one from that?
Just to control, you learn how to control my emotions in a sense of everything that was happening in my head, just because, the whole day was a bit chaotic. Things could have been happening, things may not have happened, it was just kind of keeping control and know you still got a fight coming up and be ready for that, instead of letting everything get into my head and start worrying about, I might not fight. I might do, I might not, this might happen, I might fight last, I might do, all these things getting in your head, and next thing you know, you're distracted from the actual fight you're going into.
But then as a fighter as well, I'd imagine your phone's probably going off and people saying like, good luck, hope it goes well. But in the meantime, you've got the issue of, is William Warburton going to make it down the M6 and the M1 in time and get down there, and you don't know if you're going to be fighting before or after the main event, all these things. But you can't concentrate on any of that, can you? At the end of the day, you've got to be the one that's just in fight mode, ready to go.
Yeah, no, funny enough, when I got wrapped up, I got taped up as soon as the second fight started. Jack Newman was it? As soon as the second fight started, got taped up, got wrapped up, and I was all in my kit. I was all ready. I was just standing around, and I've been told a few times by a few different people that you are definitely fighting last. You are most likely you'll be fighting last. And I went, okay, that's sunk in my head, but for some reason I thought, I'm going to warm up anyway. I'm just going to warm up anyway, why not? Started warming up a little bit, and I thought, you know what, let me go watch a fight. I went around the side, I was watching it, and Dave that gives out the gloves, he ran over to me and goes, go get gloved up right now, Willie's just got it. And I was like, oh God, ran in the room, gloved up, and in no time I'm walking out to go fight. So luckily I warmed up a little bit, you know what I mean, but there was a lot of external factors that could have got into my head, but the most important thing was to just kind of realise you're still having a fight no matter what. Don't let any outside things get in your head, because you might get in the ring thinking about it against someone like Willie Warburton. Do you know what I mean? So that was the worst thing I could have done, so I just kind of tried to stay cool the whole time.
And have you watched it back?
Yeah, a few times. I personally thought it was cool, no risk approach, very safe and comprehensive, really.
Yeah. How interesting is it to watch it back, or how surreal is it that you've got Ronald McIntosh and Darren Barker commentating on your fight? former world champion Darren Barker.
Yeah, it was.
And do you take their comments in? Because like there are times they were critical of some of the things you were doing. Do you sit there and go, yeah, fair enough?
Yeah, no, there was there was a point where he was Darren Barker made a very good point about me after like the second round. He says, it's about time that Udofia starts pushing it and starts showing his fitness and starts trying to step up the gears and start working more. And then at the same time, I understand that, and I definitely understand and agree with what you said to an extent, but at the same time doing that could invite a problem.
At the same time, you got Terry going.
Yeah,
Terry's take any risks.
Terry's telling me the opposite. You know what I mean?
I know I'd be more scared of.
Yeah. Right there, and then Darren Barker ain't going to slap you in the corner. I mean, in terms of moving Linus on now, then, Steve, because I mean, although it wasn't ideal Friday and the preparation, how it all went, he got the win. He was solid enough in doing so. And now you're looking at getting him out again in March.
He's on the 17th of March on the next day's show. He's stepping up. He's doing a 6 rounds on this show. I mean, that was good because he's experienced that crazy night, the crazy morning of knowing he's fighting. Then Warburton's got stuck in traffic, and so he's experienced that. That's great because it's a good thing to experience.
Yep.
So now we're going up to 17th of March. Hopefully no dramas, a nice straightforward 6 round. That'll then bring Linus to 8-0. And then we will then sit down and look at when we press the buttons. The Southern Area titles being fought by Matt Legg and Taylin Jones. Both Linus and his stablemate Brad. They're on the radar, and you've got to understand when somebody. It depends on who wins. If Legg wins, then he'll be due a mandatory. If Taylin wins, then he can have a voluntary.
Yeah.
The problem with voluntaries, as you know, it's not easy sometimes to do the right deal on the right basis.
Yeah.
So it might be worth us just waiting to get a mandatory situation.
Yeah.
Because, but again, Brad has to fight Haymaker Burton first, and that's no gimme. So, but from Linus's perspective, I'm expecting him to win next time, look good. He'll be 8-0. He'll be in the frame. But then it's a case of when we push the buttons, because for Linus winning a Southern Area, that to me is just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen.
That's minimal expectation.
Without any disrespect to the guys that are fighting for it, there's levels in boxing, and they're not on the same level. So whenever Linus fights for it, he's going to win. So we have, that's. But again, what may happen is if we are able to. If we're able to put that fight on a big show, then they may be more inspired to do a voluntary on that basis. So that there's a few things in the pipeline for that. So we've got things in line, but he's in no rush. He's 23, so 24. So he's in no rush. So he's in no. We're not, we're at our peak yet or anything like that. So whether it's about picking the right time, the right opponent, the right place, and he's now been on a Haymaker show on the undercard. We want to progress that through and get him onto even bigger shows and be on the main events on the main TV cards of those, and that's where we're going to be moving to. But I don't feel any obsession about having to get him the title fight in June or July. If it is June, July, great. If it's October or December, that's great as well.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any mad rush. We've got to do it right.
Yeah. And in terms of managing Linus, because I say this quite often on social media, that Linus, without wishing to kiss his ass too much because he's here, but he's a very good template for boxers to work towards in terms of how he promotes himself, how he comes over. He was on a podcast that we do recently, he comes over brilliantly, had some really good social media feedback on it. Is it a lot easier to manage somebody that handles themselves in the way and the manner that somebody like Linus does?
Well, it's easier in terms of I can sell him to. When I say sell him, I'm not prostituting him, but I can sell him in terms of in a nice way. Not like some boxers feel they're being sold, but I can market him to TV promoters and to bigger promoters to get him the deals because he has a lot. He's got the whole package. Yeah. So he isn't a very highly talented boxer who struggles with his social side and his fan base. He's got a good fan base, but he's also a talented boxer. So he's got the package. But we're not going to centralise today. 12 months' time, most people will want to sign him, and the key is going to be that we'll sign when we get the right deal. Yeah. And the control of his career that we want, and that's the key. Too many boxers go to that next level, which he's going to get to, and you sign something, and you give up control of your career. you know somebody who's had one fight and God knows how long.
Some have had less.
Some have had less. So that's important that we have total control over that and we can still develop.
Yeah.
And that's the key. So it's only a matter of time for it all happens to him.
Yeah. And where do you see yourself building, Linus? What's your kind of ambitions 12 months' time?
I'm just trying to take each fight as it comes, really, and just take each opportunity as it comes, and obviously wherever Terry and Steve feel that I need to be at or need to go, that's where I'll go.
Yeah. And are you finding, I see a lot of positive comments about you on social media and things. Is that difficult for you to take? Because I know what you're like outside of the ring and away from cameras and stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, I know that you're not like a cocky person. There are some people that would soak it all up and kind of, like let it get to them, a bit of bravado. I know you're not like that. So is it difficult for you to kind of almost read some of the support that you get from people and that sense of, I guess, overwhelmingness that people want you to do well that probably never met you?
I really enjoy it because it spurs me on a bit, you know. It spurs me on to know that some people that I've never met still want me to get as far as I can, really, in this, you know what I mean? It really encourages me a lot.
Yeah, excellent. And so we're going to see you again in March on the Haymaker, Bill.
Yep.
Are you hoping for having an opponent that Steve and Kevin, Josh can line up for you? Are you hoping somebody that's going to come out, and when we go back to the Ashley Bailey-Demetz fight where you knocked him out fairly cold, it'd be fair to say, are you hoping for somebody like that, or are you hoping again for somebody that's a little bit durable that you can go the full 6 rounds with?
I personally am hoping for someone like Demetz, really.
Someone you can have
because you know that that only pushes you on as a fighter, but at the same time, I understand that if my management or trainer doesn't feel like that's what I really need at that time, I understand that. I always hope for someone like Demetz, to be honest.
All right, and who are your sponsors, Linus? The ones that are supporting your career?
Yeah, I've got a few. They're All Time Removals, Corfit Pilates, Seawood and Sons, LJB Electrical Contractors, DNI Butchers, GB Staffing, Advanced Roofing Solutions, JFB Sports, and New Body Supplements.
Excellent. So they're all ones that are giving you a hand, making sure that you can get through training camps and all your medicals and.
All from literally supporting medicals to financial securing and dietary stuff.
Excellent. All right, well, I think that probably covers everything for Linus. We'll be back next week to look at the shows that we've got coming up on the 3rd, is it the 10th and the 17th that you're involved in?
Yeah.
So plenty to cover on those ones. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Q&A through the week and then this bonus edition with Linus, and we'll be seeing you next week.